Hi, Jordan.
Oh, someone's not happy.
It's finally over, but uh,
No, I thought you would be happy when it's finally over.
I know, but
I just want to before we do this, I want to say I said it went downhill.
you did,
I warned you.
you did,
I gave you so much warning.
you did.
Shall we do this then?
Yeah, we're reviewing the last Sky Rider. What is it? Rise of the Skywalker.
The Rise of Skywalker.
That's the one. What are your opening statements for the prosecution?
Um, Messy.
I thought, well, the three words which were in my head were boring, stupid, and unoriginal. But we'll add messy
Okay.
in there too, because it
Um,
was a mess, and I
before
did
before
not
we
like it.
before we properly start this, I just want to mention something that you put a pin in last week or last time. It wasn't last week, was it?
Yeah, I left it up
Um,
there, still there.
I'm just saying we put a pin
Yeah, it's
in
still
people,
sitting there.
and I'm going to draw attention to that now because I have a feeling it might come up.
This is in reference to the scene where, in the last film, where Luke asks Ray what she thinks Force is, and she says it's moving stuff with moving rocks with your mind and things like that, and he says no, it's about much, much more than that. And yeah, I,
There's a lot of what would be perceived as overpowered force use in this movie, in the last movie and in this movie,
I mean, I have
compared to everything else we've seen in the series.
I have thoughts on it, and I think it's an easy thing to fix. But
Anyway, let's do this thing.
okay,
We open with the standard title crawl, and we find
yes,
out that what is it? The dead speak.
yeah, Palpatine's doing a podcast.
Oh, I sure hope we find out how he comes back.
I don't know. Somehow, I would think.
Well, hopefully someone will tell us. I just
Yeah,
they mentioned his speech before we get too into it. They
yeah.
mentioned the speech that he's given. Do you know where that was actually broadcast?
Disney World. I don't know.
Fortnite.
I hate Star Wars.
No, you hate Disney. It's not Star
I
Wars' fault.
hate Star Wars. I hate
It's
it.
not Star Wars.
I
It's not
hate
Star
it
Wars'
so
fault that
much.
right.
Why?
We hear all this shit. He's hiding in some
Yes,
godforsaken planet somewhere, and
we're crucially not party to the broadcast. We're just told it happens.
yep.
And Kylo Ren's not pleased because he considers that a threat, and obviously the rebellion are pretty miffed as well.
Resistance.
Who gives a shit? It is okay. Whatever. We'll use their fun new term for this thing that is basically identical.
I know. It's important that we make the distinction.
Okay. Yes, and I think Kylo Ren goes to a planet where there's loads of little midget people, not midgets, sorry,
Yeah, choose your words properly, Ben. Jesus.
children, I guess.
They are unknown folk in an unknown forest on an unknown planet.
Yes, and
And Darth Angsty goes around killing them.
he cuts him down and he finds a thing. It's a whole direction thing.
Yeah, well,
Navicrom.
I wrote holocron.
Yeah, that was the word.
Called it a wayfinder later.
Okay, whatever. And then he flies off and
It's a fucking
finds.
map. That's all it is. It's GPS. That's it.
He flies off and tracks down Palpatine, who's
Yep.
looking pretty okay for a guy who fell down a thing and it blew up.
Yep. He reveals that he made Snoke.
Yes, which is okay.
And also in that scene when he says that, we also find out he's actually really good at impressions.
Yeah.
Because he does an impression of Snoke and he does an impression of Darth Vader, and it's really fucking good.
Yeah, and he does.
Like,
and he does an impression of Ronald Reagan, a wrinkly old evil man who ruins everything, and by all rights should be fucking dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's offered.
He's back.
Yeah, Palpatine has returned somehow, and he offers Kylo Ren lots of power and he needs to deal with the Skywalker chick, not Skywalker chick, the chick.
Right.
Yeah, and then
She has a name.
he goes back.
Don't objectify her with words like chick. That's
I
not fair.
not my. I was quoting Palpatine,
Oh yeah, sure you were.
and then
Because he's really going to call her a chick.
he goes back to his ship with his counselors, one of whom is Richard E. Grant, and he's got like the what is it, the Ren Squad, the Ren Fair.
You're jumping through quite a lot of stuff. Right
Oh, who gives a shit?
I do because
Go on then, pick
like
it up.
for what it's worth, there's about 20 minutes between, and I wrote it down as soon as we saw him. There's 20 minutes between this happening and Richard E. Grant, so you've missed about a sixth of the film.
Okay.
So we get I think it's important to note they did get Ian back.
Yeah.
For the Emperor, which
Yeah.
I'm pleased they did.
I'm glad for him because I think he really loves that character and playing that part, and he probably does a lot of theatre. He's one of those actors whose real passion is the theatre, and they will do TV and film work because it earns more money to allow them to do theatre for a bit. But I
get that feel.
I think he's he's great in the part in general.
Yep.
I don't care for him here, but that's not really his fault.
No, he's a victim of the
yeah.
the right.
I'm happy he got to come back for his sake.
There's a couple of references. Well, two come to mind. One might be an accident, but
yeah,
he mentions to have a dark side as a path to some abilities that blah blah blah.
Some considered unnatural.
Yeah, like he's basically redoing that line because it worked so well last time, right?
Well, yeah.
You know, and also we discovered there's a load of Star Destroyers there, and
yeah,
one in particular lifts up out of the ground, doesn't it? And
yeah.
I think that might be a reference to that video where there's one in Coruscant that lifts up out of the ground and everyone lost their fucking shit about it because of how cool it looked. I think it might be a reference to that, but it might not be.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, there's a video of a space battle on Coruscant, which isn't really technically a space battle because it's in atmosphere.
Yeah.
But there's a bit in it where a Star Destroyer-like vessel lifts out of the fucking ground.
All right.
And it's cinematically, it's a good shot. It was a much better cinematic piece.
What's this from?
In the movie. I can't remember now. It's a thing. It's not. I don't think it's like a proper video. I think it's like a fan thing.
Oh.
But it looked fucking awesome, right?
God.
And it ties in with the basic lore of the Empire stuff.
So they've rehashed they've run out of their own stuff to rehash, so now they're doing it with fan content. Brilliant.
Possibly. But again, it looked better in the fan content because it was all well lit and all that kind of shit. Whereas in this, it was dark and gloomy and you could only really half see what was going on.
Where did he get them from then?
Don't know. Took out alone, I guess.
I don't.
Insurance job from the first or second Death Star.
Who's captaining in them? Who?
Well,
what troops are on them? Is anybody on them?
Well, they'd have to be.
Well, they'd have to be, of course. But who are they? Is he here?
We find out later that he's got a load of people watching him in that weird Colosseum room.
Yeah, but they're like ghost Sith.
Are they though?
That's my understanding. This is like the Sith core world or whatever.
If they're ghost Sith, they got pretty pissed off about having rocks thrown up.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that all happens. That's the big reveal. Emperor's big bad guy again.
Which happened a lot earlier than I assumed it did. Having never seen this film, I assumed this was like a third act reveal.
Oh no!
But no, it's right there in the fucking text crawl. I was a bit surprised by that.
Heck, if you were playing the game at the right time, it was in the fortnight before the film came out.
Joy.
You know. But we cut back to the Resistance, and this is a sequence I actually quite like.
Yeah.
For the most part. So they're in some giant space iceberg. It's I think the best way of describing it. And they're trying to get they're getting a message from someone, aren't they? And it turns out there's a spy inside the First Order.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, what's the message? And there's a bit where someone's like, how do we thank you? And the guy giving you a message is like, win the war.
Yeah.
And that's like, I mean, I can get on board with that. That's a nice sort of exchange, I feel there.
Yeah.
So we do that sort of shit going on. They're leaving. They do the whole light speed skipping thing.
Is this the third instance of them fucking with light speed?
Yes.
Yeah. I bet the fans shut themselves senseless over that one.
I think it looks good.
Yeah.
I think it looks good, but I don't like the lore of it. I don't like the meta perspective.
Mm.
And I've said that for the last couple of things. I like how some of it looked.
Mm.
I don't like how it worked. Like the semantics of it.
Mm.
But I noticed in this scene, the guy who plays Finn, who's John Boyega,
Yeah.
he looks so fucking fed up.
Of course he's fed up.
in that. He really does.
They're all fed up. I
Um,
mean, I like all three of those core trio characters, and I like all the acting. Even though
mhm.
Daisy Ridley's English accent upsets me, but that's just me. That's fully
I
on
thought she was
me.
actually English, wasn't she?
Well, yeah, I just don't like that sort of English accent. I never have
Oh,
in
okay.
film. It always strikes me as a bit fake and phony. It's not anybody's fault. It's just me. But they don't.
Fair enough.
They don't appear to have bonded in the same. They're not as strong as the original trilogy trio
They
were.
don't. They don't spend an awful lot of time together, do
They
they? That's part of the
don't.
problem, I
No.
think. Like we have this thing where we didn't mention it, but
Yeah, I
we talked about
forgot.
it outside, and
Yeah.
that's how they introduce Poe and Ray to each other
At
quite
the
late into.
at the end of the second film, essentially.
Yeah, and it's like, well, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
How has all this stuff happened, and they've not at least said hi to each other?
Yeah.
You
They
know?
they don't feel like a unit. You know,
Yeah.
and part of that is probably because the original trilogy trio were back in it.
Yeah, maybe.
Um, but yeah, that's one of the problems, and it's a problem I have with the scene with C-3PO later as well. As well.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll come to that. But yeah, he in particular looks particularly fed up
I think,
with just.
yeah, I think I heard from what I've seen in the few interviews he's popped up in that I've happened to catch. He does seem a bit meh
Mm,
about the whole thing, you know. And none of them are
yeah.
massive stars in the
No.
same way that the original trilogy made
I
those
had
three
seen
stars.
him in something before
Yeah.
this.
Mm.
I hadn't seen them in anything before this, and I've
Mm.
seen the guy who plays Poe in other stuff
Yeah.
outside of Star Wars since.
They
So it's
yeah. It just
you
don't
know.
doesn't feel that
Mm.
strong a unit.
Um. So yeah, they get back. They find out there's a spy in the First Order. Blah blah blah.
Hmm.
And then we go to the planet where Rey is practicing lightsaber stuff.
Yeah.
So it turns out Leia's sort of guiding her to do through some training.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, the first time. I might be wrong. The first time we see a proper lightsaber throw, where it comes. Don't say anything. Where she throws it and then it comes back.
Yeah.
Because we do see Darth Vader throw one
Yeah.
in Episode 6, but we don't see him catch it. So
Yeah.
I always got the impression from that he threw it and then had to go looking for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Awkwardly pause the fight for 5 minutes while Vader finds his lightsaber.
Well, if it helps, Luke was like hiding anyway in the dark bit. So
Yeah,
like,
he was
whilst I'm looking for him.
trying to flush it out, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
But
I
anyway,
know what you mean.
so I think it's the first time we properly see that, even though that's a thing that's been established for fucking decades at this point. Is a thing that you can throw a lightsaber, you can catch it.
It's Battlefront 2, yeah.
Yeah, and basically all the other fucking Star Wars games where you can carry a lightsaber, you
Yeah.
can throw a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Catch it.
Can you do it
I
in
do
Lego
question-
Star Wars?
Yeah, I think so.
Alright, okay, go on.
I do question whose lightsaber it is.
What colour was it?
Because-
Was it blue?
It was blue.
Did she make her own?
Not yet. Turns out, I looked this up. It turns out it's the Skywalker family lightsaber. You know the one that got broken?
Yes.
Well, she still had the pieces, so she fixed it. Apparently, that's the canon explanation. She fixed it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have other lightsaber issues later on, as well. Just to be clear, but we'll come to them.
Uh-huh.
Everyone groups up. There's a bit of banter, which is more like bickering, really.
Yeah.
It's meant to be banter, but it's just this shit.
Yeah.
And then we get the reveal they find out, don't they? But
Somehow Palpatine has returned.
I was really hoping he would explain how it happened, but no, genuinely somehow. We also find out that the First Order have rebranded as well.
As New Labour, yeah.
The Final Order,
Yes.
and so
Because
you
the-
can understand.
Final solution was already taken, so
So you can understand just how I feel about that. I wrote that in alternating capital and then lowercase letters.
what
Um,
what somehow Palpatine has returned, or
No, Final Order. Somehow was just capitalised, but Final Order sounds like the most cringy fucking name. But anyway, I do feel there is a touching moment between R2 and C-3PO here. I feel. It's not something. There's always been a sort of understanding between for the audience that they are
Lovers.
a friends of a sort,
Yeah.
but that they drive each other fucking mental.
Yeah, I don't think I
3PO,
don't think I could do anything like that. That seems a bit weird
what?
to have a friend, be best friends with someone who drives you mental.
No, it's weird, isn't it?
I don't understand that.
Calm down, 3PO. Anyway, so there's this touching moment where 3PO is like, look, you are, whatever happens, that you are my best friend. You
Yes.
have always you have always been and will always be my best friend.
Oh.
It's a nice point, isn't it, between them? And it's worth mentioning because they don't get an awful lot of actual interaction with each other throughout the series. Generally, actually, when you think about it,
Mm,
A New Hope is probably the peak of it, but that's because they're the main characters for about 20 minutes.
yeah.
you know, so, but yeah. So, do you want to take over?
Well, they're going on a mission, aren't they?
Yes, we're going on a mission to
They
find
think.
the other Wayfinder.
Am I taking over or am I not?
Are you asked?
Yeah.
You said they're going on a mission, aren't they? And I said, yeah, to find the other Wayfinder.
It was a rhetorical question.
Well, make it more clear.
Oh,
Bitch.
all right.
God, you're such a 3PO.
I wish I could erase my memory of watching this movie.
Yeah, well.
Anyway, they're going on this mission to Palpatine's planet place base thing, but they need to find the thing, the Wayfinder.
Yep.
To find out where it is.
And they've got like a day and a half or something, haven't they?
Yeah, and they have a planet in mind that they think a lead is on.
Mm-hmm.
So they go there and C-3PO comes with because I guess they need translation help or something. I don't know.
Something. He's there for some reason.
Yeah, to make the drinks. And they land and it's like Space Woodstock.
Yeah, it's the Aki Aki Festival that takes place every 42 years.
Yeah.
Do you know why that is?
Is it Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker reference?
It's the length of time between the release of A New Hope and this film.
Jeez Louise.
It's 42 years between. At that point, it was 42 years between the release of the two films.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So yeah, they go looking around, and Ray gets a necklace, and is asked what her surname is, and she looks at a puppet show and all the kids, and it's like,
creepy.
who's my mama and papa, mama and papa, and father,
Father,
and then the first final solution order, New Empire, Hope, track them down, and Lando saves them.
Lando with a crossbow.
Yeah, and
I like that he and Chewbacca hug. That was nice.
Yeah, they're happy to see each other, and they go to a ship which was owned by a hunter, a Jedi hunter, who was after Luke, and he and Lando dealt with him, and they figured it was on his ship, but they couldn't find anything, so they go and have another look, and then they get
They
caught.
didn't deal with him. They couldn't find him.
All right, yeah. Then they get caught in space quicksand.
Yep.
And
after a fight between them and the bad guys who were chasing them, and then we got that really fucking annoying. Oh, they fly now.
Oh yeah, there was a fight scene, and they fall in the quicksand, and Finn is presumably about to tell Rey that he loves her, which comes out of nowhere, and I don't like.
I don't.
And they just sort of don't do anything with that in the rest of the film, which is okay.
I can't believe all this is happening on not Tatooine.
I know, right? How many not Tatooines are there?
So fucking many.
But
there's a line from C-3PO here that I feel you'll relate to. I don't know if you made a note of it. You probably didn't, because making notes of specific lines isn't your thing.
No.
But he does at one point say, "Will this agony never end?"
Yeah, I did message you very early on going, I do not like this movie.
Yeah, I think 10 minutes in, they'd have probably only just got to the somehow, if that far.
I mean, we'll probably, in our overview, we'll come on to our main problem, because we want to really talk about all three trilogies, but specifically, I guess, this trilogy as a whole and how it panned out.
They find the Sith dagger eventually, don't they?
Yeah, and C-3PO.
That's what it is.
C-3PO knows what he means, but because of legal requirements, he is unable. Yes, he is unable to say. They couldn't. They couldn't find a way around that. They could be right. We'll get in the ship and C-3PO. You just you give us directions. We're not asking you. Just take us if you think there's anywhere interesting we should go.
Well, you see, I'm pretty damn sure that he has flown a ship before.
Yeah, he flew Padme.
Yeah. So there's no reason why,
I could just.
theoretically, he
I
could just fly the fucking ship.
mean, I guess that would be telling them. I don't know. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's plot device, isn't it? It's convolution for the sake of plot.
You think maybe he might have thought it prudent to mention this whole I can't translate. Well, I can translate, but I can't reveal translations for Sith.
Well, no, you see, because the idea was that they're going to find the Wayfinder, not a
Mm.
clue to find the Wayfinder.
All right.
So it's sort of, they're in this cave thing, aren't they? Which is obviously like a burrow of some sort. And Rey does something that we don't see in any of the other Star Wars films.
Yes, she heals.
She uses the Force to heal someone. So what is it? She says, "I transferred some of my life energy."
Well, a big snake comes,
Yeah,
and
okay.
she notices it's wounded and uses her life energy to heal it.
Yep.
Um,
And it's
and
their pal now.
I sort of wish that. See, I don't mind Ray having like superpower force. I just wish it was noted on like this is really unusual. I've never heard of a Jedi being able to do that. You know,
Yeah, like this is
what's it
something
with
that we
you?
don't see. We
Yes,
don't fucking see this, and there's so many times when it would have been at least a little bit helpful.
yeah. It should have been played up as oh God, Ray, what's your deal,
Yeah,
lady? But no, it's
holy crap!
fine.
Is that safe? Doesn't that hurt?
Yeah.
Plot device. Plot device. Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
But no, they go out. They're like, oh, let's find a plan. We'll go to this other place. But they're not the bad guys. The Knights of Ren, which are the most metal band sounding fucking thing. There's that shot of them where they're on the rock looking over, and I genuinely think they look like a metal band that are about to drop an album.
We have skipped the conference scene with Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren, yeah, Kylo Ren makes his new outfit, doesn't he? He gets his mask back,
Yeah, he fixes his mask,
which
and
I
then
don't
he sees
mind, which
Richard Grant.
plays into the whole edgelord thing. And then some guy is talking about what's the guy's? Yeah, the guy's. There's a person at the meeting who's like, "What does
Where
Palpatine
did
want
this
in
come from?
return? Are you sure this
Yeah,
seems a little too good to be true?" And Kylo Ren is like, "Shut up!" And
and he's right.
he's
Fucking
completely
right.
right. It's like, no, that's a very salient point. We should consider the fact that maybe Palpatine's only out for himself, as history has told us time and time again.
You know, he may have been the founding father of our original movement and why we do what we do, but actually, you know what? Maybe he went a bit off the rails.
Yeah, like historically, Palpatine and trustworthy are not two words that tend to be linked.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and I don't
there's a
mind.
reason why his apprentices keep turning on him.
I don't mind the Knights of Ren either, because that's sort of edgelordy. This whole I like it leans in, it plays with the whole edgelord Kylo Ren thing, which I'm a fan
I don't
of.
know. I don't know for sure, but I think the premise of them is that they're a group of mercenaries that he killed the leader of to assume command of.
Oh well, I just assumed it was people he was training, like
I
a
think it might be, but I have a feeling
touring
it's a
guard thing.
mercenary thing.
Um,
Um,
yeah, the Knights of Ren just remind me of the Knights who say, was it the Knights who say knee?
at first it is, but then they're the knights who say eki for tongue, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They change. So these at least stay the Knights of Ren. And I really hope we get to see them do some really cool, well effective fighting later on.
Yeah,
Because,
I really hope they make sense as characters and don't turn against Kylo Ren for almost no real reason, arguably.
and I hope if they do, they at least put up a good fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, they turn up, bad guys turn up, they find the good guys, and oh my god, Chewbacca's been caught.
Oh no, because Ray decided to go for a walk
Yeah.
to have a
Um,
fag or something.
and she sees Kylo Ren in his fighter.
Yeah.
He goes to run her over, I guess. And this actually is the biggest spoiler of all the fucking things.
Why?
What was the downfall of the Jedi if you narrow it down to one word, what would it be?
Arrogance.
I was gonna say hubris.
Same thing.
Well, that's the word I was gonna use, right?
Okay.
Hubris. It's the one I wrote down.
Right.
But I mean, look at this for a minute.
Yeah.
How fucking arrogant, or an example of his own hubris is it that he's gonna try and fucking run this woman over with a spaceship? Where you gone?
What?
Where have you gone?
I was shutting the window. My
Okay.
my concern is that he wants her to join him.
But he's going to try and fly into her.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know.
I hate Star Wars.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, this is a massive spoiler alert. But he's gonna maybe turn, maybe I don't know, not so bad. But I don't know. But then Chewie gets caught. They find out, and oh my god, Chewie's dead.
Well, they have a tussle. Ray catches a ship in midair, which again should really be a moment of holy shit, Ray, you are really powerful. Who the fuck are you? You know, where are
Mm.
you? Where do you come from? And then Kylo Ren does exactly the same thing and fights her over it, and then they blow. She shoots force lightning out of the fingers and blows it up by accident.
It's worth noting we have seen people move spaceships with the Force.
Yeah, but like little ones, and it took a lot of concentration. And Yoda was like a Jedi master.
Yeah, but I mean, even outside of that, I mean, we've got. I know you haven't seen it, but Darth Vader does it in Kenobi.
Yeah.
In wider canon, Star Killer did it in Force Unleashed. He took down a fucking Star Destroyer with the Force.
Uh-huh.
So it's fine conceptually.
Yeah.
But it's not even that causes it to blow up. It's for lightning she shoots out of her hand.
But it's okay because there's another ship. It turns out there were two, so that was
Yeah.
entirely fucking pointless.
My notes here are: oh no, Chewie got caught. Oh no, Chewie dead. Oh, Chewie fine.
Yeah, Chewie fine.
So they don't know what to do. They don't know to. They don't know he's alive at this point. So
Yeah.
they're like, okay, fine, we'll carry on the mission. And we go to a place called Kijimi.
What's that?
Well,
Oh shit! Yeah, it's the place where Poe was a smuggler, and we meet
Spice Runner, yeah.
his friend, who is kind of pointless, or former friend. And they're trying because they need to wipe C-3PO's memory. Apparently, there's only one guy in the galaxy who can do that.
Babu Frick.
Yeah, Babu Frick. So they take.
How do you feel about Babu Frick?
I liked him.
I like him too.
I thought he was cute. They take him to Babu Frick. After Ray beats up what's her face and all her guards, and then she's like, "Oh, like you."
Did you see the cameo there?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was John Williams as a bartender, wasn't it?
It was. It was John Williams as a bartender, and in the background of that shot, there's all sorts of John Williams references as well. But
I'm fine.
It's a big deal.
Honestly, I'm fine with that.
I am too. He's a big part of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
It makes sense for him to be in it, right?
Yeah.
It's why I don't begrudge George Lucas having been in that one where he's in. Right? It sort of makes sense when you think about it.
As the blue guy with an escort, presumably an escort.
Yeah, probably.
Space prostitute.
This is the thing that made me. We spoke the other day about how one of the things that feels right about Canto Bight in the last film was that it feels like a sort of proper place.
Mm.
I feel like Kijimi feels like a proper place as well.
Yeah.
It's that sort of okay, fine. It's a town in a snowy climate, but like there's no indication of that's everything about this fucking place.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
It feels lived in.
Yeah.
Of a sort. So yeah.
So
we find out that the blade is a map.
Yeah.
Oh no, I've skipped a little. Sorry.
Well, they wipe C-3PO's memory, don't they?
Yeah, he has this moment where he's like, I'm just taking one last look at my friends. It's like, well, hang on.
You haven't spent any fucking time with them whatsoever.
Like, do you even know their names?
Yeah, and then he Red Letter Media, in their review of this film, posited that Anthony Daniels had apparently always been asking George Lucas for a heroic moment for C-3PO. And George Lucas shot him down because he just wanted him to be basically comic relief. Yeah. And they suggest that maybe he got his way in this film and he got his heroic moment, which is later rendered pointless because he gets fixed very easily. It's like, okay, you don't maybe. I hate this movie.
I know. Yeah, I mean, he gets wiped. We find out that the blade is a map to where the Wayfinder is in the Emperor's Vault, which we know is in the Death Star.
Yes.
So like, oh my god, what
which
the fuck?
Appeared to be atomized, but apparently not.
Yeah, apparently not.
So we get our scene in the Emperor's throne room, which, okay, we're doing that again, are we? And there's a laser fight, okay. And she goes in, and then she finds herself as a Sith lady, and there's a fight.
Oh, you skipped loads again.
Oh shit! No, they go. Yeah, they go to rescue Chewie, don't they?
Yeah, they find out he's alive, and
Yeah,
they do a prison break on a not Imperial vessel, and they don't use disguises.
yeah,
Ray finds out who her mum is and who her dad is.
yeah. She
She sees them.
finds she's a Palpatine.
Yeah.
That's revealed by
And
Kylo Ren.
did you see who played her mum?
There's a again with this trilogy. There's a lot of actors where I go, oh, that rings a bell. You know,
Yeah.
there's a fair few of them. She was in that list.
Jodie Comer.
Yes,
Yeah, who's done a lot of other big stuff. Killing Eve is, I think, the biggest thing she's done, isn't it?
yes, that's right.
We find out who the spy is.
It's Hux.
It is Hux. And he does this thing, doesn't he? He says something specific. I don't care if you win, I just need Kylo Ren to lose.
I mean,
Which is not the best motivation.
it's sort of. I mean, it makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, like it's for him, it's the best motivation. For
I
him.
don't know. Maybe a better story would have been Hux takes a load of troopers and ships and goes and sees if he can resurrect Palpatine. And there's like 3 factions at play. I don't fucking know how to fix this.
Who knows? There was one little bit that amused me
Yeah.
in all this, and that's there's an exchange between, I think, a stormtrooper and C-3PO. Where the stormtrooper says, "What's your operating number?" The subtitles for C-3PO's bit was gibberish, and the response was, "That's not even a language."
Huh.
And part of that just tickled me. It's stupid. I know it's stupid, and it shouldn't amuse me, but it just did.
Well, yeah. Hux allows for them to escape, but suggests that they shoot him in the arm, so they shoot him in the leg.
Yep.
And then he goes and explains himself to Richard E. Grant and says, who's called General Pride or Admiral Pride, because these.
But it's not spelled pride like Pride.
Oh well, then that makes all the difference.
It's a Y. It's a Y.
Well, then that's all right, then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he explains himself. He's like, "Oh, they shot me and escaped." And Pride is like, "I see. Get the Supreme Leader." And then he shoots Hux, and it's like, "We found the spy."
Yeah, like he's genuinely competent.
Hux is an idiot. Hux is a bad spy. That's like the oldest trick in the book. No, you need to punch me to make it look real.
Yeah. So they end up they're doing all that shit. They've got like 8 hours before they're gonna start wiping out all life.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
They've got these space guns. Every ship is now a Death Star. Ugh.
Yeah, I know. Because they blow up Kijimi, don't they?
Which one's that? Is that the one where we were when C3...
John Williams.
Right.
They killed John Williams basically.
Oh,
probably.
well.
We don't see him afterwards. So somehow John Williams will return. But in the meantime, they go to the Death Star. They find the Death Star, but they can't get to it because the water's a bit choppy.
Yeah.
And Ray realizes that the blade literally has like a little pointy thing that she can pull out.
Yeah.
And it lines up perfectly with a bit of the debris on this thing that got blown up like 20 odd years ago, and
yeah.
And it points directly to the place where she needs to go to find it, and
yeah.
And do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
It's so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anyone that's seen that and has any appreciation for Star Wars that has thought it was a good idea. That
I was so bored throughout so much of this film, and there've been moments before when I've been watching these films where I've been like, "Oh Christ!" But this is the first one where it's been like, I genuinely thought about quitting, like stopping in the middle.
I know the one thing you have to do to make the blade thing work.
Yeah.
Just make it a fucking key to the vault.
Does it hover?
Make it the key.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
That's it. That's all you have to do. You don't have to make it a map. They know what they're looking for.
I just don't like this whole Keys and Marius type, treasure hunt thing and finding out. We've got to get the 3 parts to open the thing, and then we've got to fucking.
Yeah.
I just there's no story here that engages me on any level.
I know.
Like none.
They bump into some ex-stormtroopers, a bit like Finn.
Yeah.
And for a moment there, it looks like they're going to hook up the 2 black age-appropriate and heteronormative characters.
Yeah.
Which seems a bit, not woke.
Racist.
Who?
Star Wars.
Oh, okay. Also, if Rey hadn't been a scavenger, this whole sequence would have been a whole lot worse. Because, like, she knows how to parkour, right?
Well, she's a Jedi. She can do that anyway.
I know, but she spent her whole fucking life basically parkouring.
Yeah.
So, like, it would have been... It's basically taps directly into her natural thing. Find an Imperial thing that's broken, scavenge.
Yeah.
You know?
So,
we find the Death Star's got its own Dagobah cave, which is what you were mentioning earlier.
yeah, and what's his face shows up and they have a fight, don't they?
Yeah, Rey and Ren fight.
Um,
They end up outside.
yeah, and they're running all around, and the waves are crashing, and Princess Leia's using the Force to distract her son,
Yeah.
so Rey can kill him.
I realised something about this sequence that I didn't realise the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
And that she's the only one who's really properly dodging the water. And I think it's because she's wearing white, and Disney didn't want to have to deal with that.
Oh god, yeah.
Because white clothes naturally, if they get wet, get a bit clingy, don't they?
Yeah.
And a bit translucent.
Yeah.
So that's not something that Disney are going to want to have to deal with.
Well, I suppose it's a nice juxtaposition. The bad guy who doesn't give two shits, and the good guy who's, you know,
oh yeah,
it's a
from an
character
in film
perspective.
absolutely, it
I
works.
guess it kind
but
of works.
from a filmmaking perspective, I think it's a they don't want
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, Leia does her thing. I'm just gonna point at the pin here.
Yeah.
You put in. Yeah.
Still there.
And then Rey stabs Kylo.
Yeah. And I.
Am I gonna point at the pin again?
Yeah. At that point, when she stabbed him, I thought, well, that's that great character fucking tossed aside, and then she healed, and then she healed him.
Yes, and including his face.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Well, she healed him. It makes sense that his face is fixed as well.
I hate Star Wars.
No, but it does make sense.
Yes, I suppose. I mean, I don't know. Yes, fine. She heals him completely because she's God.
And then we get the thing that we knew was going to happen because of a real world death.
Oh yeah, Princess Leia pops her clogs.
Oh, fucking careful how you say that.
Cogs are pops.
Yeah. So Chewbacca's only really got Lando left wherever he is.
Yeah, they're probably adventuring now. Maybe Chewie went home to Lumpy and Itchy and Marla.
And Bart.
You're not they're from. Should we do the Star Wars holiday special?
No.
Is that a bridge too far? Is it?
That is a bridge too far. Even George Lucas doesn't consider that appropriate to watch anymore. So you know, he at least hasn't completely denounced these.
Fair and well, yeah. Very.
Rey leaves in TIE Fighter, I think.
Kylo Ren's fancy TIE Fighter.
And then Harrison Ford turns up at the cost of $1 billion.
Yes. He turned up, did it in one take, and then fucked off again.
Yeah.
It's the only person who hates Star Wars more than I do.
He manages to talk Kylo into throwing his lightsaber away, and it's basically implied then that he's now a good guy again.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I don't mind Kylo Ren becoming a good guy. I don't mind that. I think that's fine. I think that's a reasonable end to that arc.
Okay. Even though they basically, like, removed all the edgelord shit.
Well, I'm not saying it was handled perfectly.
Okay.
I think you need to make more of that arc. Maybe if you got rid of the scenes with Palpatine and focused on him as your big villain and did something vaguely interesting.
Well, yeah.
But this is Star Wars, so
Harrison Ford does that, and at this point we see the Star Destroyer blow up the planet. It takes longer, and I made a note that they effectively have now 1,000 Death Stars, which is the only way to ultimately outdo the previous movies.
Yes.
Like this is the thing, isn't it? Is they have the Death Star,
yeah,
and then they have the Death Star 2, which is bigger but not quite finished.
Yeah, and then
they have Starkiller Base, which is a planet that can blow up planets.
Yeah,
more than one planet. And now they have 1,000 ships, 1,000 planet destroying lasers. It is the natural progression of.
Do you see why I say I hate Star Wars?
No, I get. But the thing is, it was fine in the original trilogy.
Oh, completely fine. Yeah.
It's only an issue because they did it in the sequels.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You don't hate Star Wars, you hate the sequels.
I don't.
And how they handled the original material, how they lifted so heavily from it. That's the issue, not the franchise.
Apart from a decent chunk of the second one.
Wow.
We'll talk about that more later. But yeah. I can't even remember what happens now.
That's fine. I've got quite extensive notes.
Good.
But they end up back on the main planet, apart from Rey, who it seems has gone back to the planet that Luke was on. And how happy do you think those custodian fishboat people were to see her? Oh fuck, she's back again.
Oh, God.
We finally got our island to ourselves.
And she's burning. It's the wreckage of the TIE fighter, isn't it?
Yeah, and Force Ghost Luke turns up.
Yeah, all nice and blue, and uses the Force to catch his lightsaber. Tap, 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 tap.
Yeah. And yeah, that's the thing that happens. He talks to her. He's like, "Look, I was wrong. I was wrong." You know.
Yeah.
Which is a nice thing for someone to admit, because that doesn't happen very often in movies or real life.
Yeah.
And he directs her to Leia's lightsaber.
Yeah.
And my note here is, now there are two of them.
Yeah.
Because he's like, "Oh, you're gonna need Leia's lightsaber as well." And I have an issue with this.
Mm-hmm.
We have a flashback where he's training Leia.
Yeah.
And their lightsabers are blue and green. And then when Rey's got them, they're both blue again. And it's just a silly little thing.
Yeah, that's a continuity fuck up.
It's just a silly, stupid little thing. And I'm sure there's some sort of stupid loophole explanation. Oh, it depends on what the colour of the person, of the soul of the person who's carrying it is. Bullshit. But then why the fuck does she have a yellow one at the end?
Yeah, where the fuck did that one come from? Did I miss?
She makes that one.
Oh, okay, that's okay. And maybe it's just the color. They thought the color blue looked better rather than blue and green.
I don't know. I feel like blue and green would have been so much better.
I think it would too, because it's like those are your two lightsabers throughout the original trilogy.
Exactly, and in the prequels as well, you have a lot of blue and green.
Yeah.
It's a harkening back to Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon at that point, isn't it?
Yeah.
We get the de-aged Luke and Leia, and I do feel like the de-aged Luke looks better than the de-aged Leia.
Yes. I saw Luke and was like, okay, and then I saw Leia and I was like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh yeah, fucking hell. So is this a Disney budget, or is this I've done this in my bedroom at 2:00 in the morning for 15 minutes? Kinda, you know. Yeah. Luke manages to finally lift an X-wing out of some water.
Yeah, which I sort of like that. To be honest.
Yeah, we get that. We get the same music as when Yoda did.
Yeah,
that's a nice. It's referencing. It's fan service, but it's fine.
And back on the Rebel base, that Finn and Poe are told that Leia's dead, and it's nice that Carrie Fisher, even as a corpse, gets to be in Star Wars because they've laid her out and put a blanket over her.
Yep.
And then apparently she made a point of saying that Poe should succeed her because they're really running low on leading figures.
And I think at this point, it's either this point or later on, Chewbacca gets a medal.
No, it's at the end of the movie because it comes right the fuck out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, fair point.
Yeah, we've got Chewie's pretty distraught because now Leia's dead, and it's like he's losing all his pals.
They have this talk about how they need to work out how they're gonna deal with this thing, and then all of a sudden they're getting directions from Rey's ship. So oh shit, we can do this.
Yeah.
And their plan, we have there's two notes I made here. Is one, I love it when they have an alien speak something in an alien language. Someone agrees and then repeats what they say. And Nia Num did it. And then Billy Lord repeated it. So he's right. We do need to blah, 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 blah.
Do you know I don't know whether he's bisexual or non-binary.
What, Nia Num?
No. Sorry. When you said Billy Lorne, I went to the guy who played Lando.
Billy D. Williams?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you need to express that when you jump like that.
Nia Num may well be non-binary. We do not know.
Yeah, no, Celestin.
No, it's not for us to judge.
The second note I made is that their plan is blow up a thing on the ground so they can blow up the thing on the air, which is basically Endor 2.0, but actually Endor 3.0 because of the circular base plan.
Well, they mentioned that the ships can't move because they don't have the navigation signal from the thing on the planet. Which sort of,
they need the thing on the planet.
Now that I think about it, sort of makes me think that there is nobody in those ships, that they're just autopilot ships.
Well, there's got to be someone in them because there is at least in the capital ship.
Well, yeah, in the capital, in the ships, the First Order. or the Final Order have, sure. In the ships that Palpatine conjures up from fucking nowhere,
I'm going to Google.
don't
Is
bother.
there anyone in Palpatine's fleet? It's manned by the Sith Eternal, a cult of Sith loyalists who reside on Exegol.
Right. Well, I'm glad
Which
that
are
was
some of the people
explained
that
in the film.
I know. But yeah, like I say, it's basically Endor 3.0
So why do they need navigation?
because it's so difficult to fly out of a thing unless you know how to do it.
Okay.
It's stupid. It's a plot device. Just accept it.
Once again, in Star Wars, we have to blow up the thing to win. Okay.
Yes. And so in order to do that, they launch a ground assault and a sky assault. And the
Yes.
ground assault ends up not going for the ground because they turn that off and just do it from the capital ship instead.
Yeah.
So what do they end up doing, Ben?
They shit. Yeah, they land on the ship and get out
Land on the
of their
ship.
ships. Is that in the atmosphere?
I fucking hope so.
It must be, right? Unless we're saying there's a shield around big ships that have oxygen in them, which would be pointless.
I wrote this down and referred to it as the charge of the wart horses.
Yeah.
Because they're a bit like warthog horse things, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's a really easy solution for this, isn't there?
Is there?
How they deal with that?
What?
Just tilt the fucking ship.
Oh yeah, you could do, yeah.
Just
Turn upside down.
The ship on its side or upside down for 30 seconds, and they're all fucking dead.
Go into space.
That's it. You don't have to fucking, you know. But away from that, we got Ray down in the pyramid thing.
Catacombs, yeah.
Having a word with Grandpapa Palpatine.
And he's...
And I just want to say, that is a neat fucking... I like the look of that Sith throne.
Yeah, I do like that, yeah.
Gnarly.
I don't mind the look of the Sith Temple at all, really.
No, it sort of works. It makes sense. It's got that old-timey feel to it.
Yeah.
It's all gloomy and miserable.
Yeah, and he basically says that he's every Sith. It's all in him.
Yeah, and this is actually a sort of knocking down of the rule of two thing. Because the general gist of the rule of two is, from my understanding, is that what happens is the master teaches the apprentice kills the master and sort of takes a bit of their soul into them, their force essence into them, to become a more powerful entity.
Yeah.
And that's been going on for so fucking long that basically you've got Darth Bane fucking floating around inside you somewhere.
Yeah.
And so he wants to be killed by Rey so that Rey will be evil and be the ultimate Sith or whatever.
But the way he sort of presents it is that he will sort of possess her a bit.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, like I say, the plan, he wants her to kill him.
So are you suggesting he would have wanted Vader to kill him?
Yeah. Vader or Luke.
All right. Because that's just their philosophy, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you are strong enough to kill me, then you are worthy of the title, basically.
Fair enough. That makes a lot of sense. I wish it was established in any one of the 9 films we watched.
I know. We do get an iconic Palpatine line.
Yeah. Somehow I have returned.
Am I going to do the impression, or are you going to do it?
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
He loves it himself. Ian has done that so many times. He looks like he has so much fun at these comic.
He didn't say it the way he should have said. That's like, do it. Yeah, I love that line. Do it.
Ben turns up. I didn't know you were in this film.
Yeah.
Yeah. With all the hate you give it.
Yeah.
Ben turns up and he gets cornered by the Knights of Ren, but he hasn't got a weapon.
Oh no! Well, he's got a blaster.
Yeah, but it's not as good, is it?
Oh no! And then he sort of merges and takes Rey's second lightsaber.
Because of that whole they can pass things through each other through the force thing.
Yeah, because
they call it a force dyad, don't they?
Yeah, because
tap 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 tap.
Because previously, that's how he found out she was in his quarters, because the Darth Vader mask got thrown to his side of things.
And it's how he knew where they were in the festival, because the necklace.
They check the necklace because he steals that off her. Yeah. Yes. So he gets the lightsaber. And I don't know why the Knights of Ren turn against him, because I would assume they like sworn to him. I don't know, maybe now they're with Palpatine. I don't fucking
It's
know.
complicated. It's not explained.
It's not complicated. It's stupid, and he kills them
No,
all.
there'll be a complicated explanation for it.
Oh, I couldn't give two fucks.
But he kills these people that are supposedly really powerful fighters.
Yeah,
Does it really easily.
yeah,
And then he goes into and interrupts the whole Palpatine thing. And actually, Palpatine changes his plan and said he's just going to suck him off.
yeah. There's two of
Yeah.
you now. I will take both of you. I
Yeah,
will,
I'll
I
suck you
will,
off.
I will suck you both, and it will make me feel so much better.
I'm going to suck you dry.
Yeah. So we start.
Gobble, gobble.
So Palpatine's sucking away,
Yeah.
and it's too much for our heroes who pass out.
Yep.
And Palpatine's looking a lot better.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah.
And we have this moment, and I'm just going to ignore the stuff that's going on outside for a minute. We have a moment where Rey is sort of coming to. She's sort of a bit delirious,
Yeah.
and she hears a load of voices.
Yeah.
And I quite like that touch.
Yeah.
And I like that touch because they got the proper actors for a lot of it.
Yeah. Kiadi Mundi's there.
Yeah. Let me see.
Leia Secura probably pops up.
Ayla Security does. Kenny Mundi isn't actually on this list.
Well, he should be. I thought he was the first person.
No, Obi-Wan was first.
Oh, I barely. Yeah,
I've got the list here.
I didn't
It's
notice
the picture I
it.
got.
All right, go on. Then.
They've got Anakin Skywalker, Luminara Unduli, Ahsoka Tano, Ayla Secura, Mace Windu, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda, Adi Gallia, whoever that is, Kanan Jarrus. That's Jarrus? Janus? I can't remember now. But that's played by Freddie Prinze Jr. That one.
Oh my
They're
god.
from Rebels.
Oh my god.
And Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah.
And it's a sort of a nice, and there's this whole sort of he's all the Sith, but she's all the Jedi because they're all sort of, this whole the Force will be with you thing.
Yeah.
We actually see that shit in action.
Yeah.
Sort of. I mean, it's a bit hokey, but I mean, isn't Jedi just some sort of hokey religion anyway?
I'm just gonna gesture to the sign. I don't even care anymore.
Okay, fair enough. What's going on? Palpatine does his old unlimited power thing and shoots lightning into the air.
Tap 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 tap.
But there's a battle going on. They're trying to blow up. Every one of these ships that they blow up is a planet saved. Apparently.
Well,
as if all these ships are one fire.
Yeah, I mean, it's we have slightly inconvenienced our enemy.
Yeah. So their plan is to fight to the last man. I don't think they've got any help on the way, and then all of a sudden,
I have to say,
help turns up.
These planet killer lasers sure are fragile.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
But yes, as you say, Billy D. Williams, played by Lando Calrissian, turns up with Chewbacca.
And a fuck ton of...
And just, it's like Dunkirk. It's just basically everybody who's got a ship who wants in on this.
I'm sure there's loads and loads of references, but one that stands out to me is Ghost. The ship Ghost.
All right.
Which is, again, it's one that we see in Rogue One.
All right.
And it's from Rebels.
Right.
It's the main ship from Rebels, so it's like it's another reference thing, but it's nice that they're tying it all in.
Yeah. Well,
this is a visual. It's it's something for the fans.
Well, they show up.
Yeah. Did you? There's a cameo here, which is one I was talking about last time as feeling right.
It's Dennis Lawson.
It is. Wedge is here.
Yes, looking very old.
Well, he will be, won't he?
He's dug his uniform out of the cupboard.
Yeah.
Brushed it off.
Somehow it still fits. Somehow Wedge's uniform fits.
Unlike Matt Parkman from Heroes, who looks like he's fucking packed in that little vest thing. Looks very little on him.
Greg Grunberg, but he also dies, doesn't he, sadly?
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Porkins
I
the
liked
Fourth.
I liked Wedge being there. It made sense to me. It was a nice little touch. It's just a silly little thing. He's going to know Lando.
Yeah.
He's going to help his plan out.
Yeah, I guess.
He knows how. He's one of. How many of those fucking Death Stars has he blown up now?
I don't know. It's probably every weekend.
He's got a record, that's for sure.
But yes, they all have a big bloody fight, and they end up blowing up the main ship, and Richard E. Grant gets killed. Rest in peace. And that fucks with the navigation stuff.
Finn's like, I'm gonna just do this. He tries to kill himself again. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna blow this up. I know what it's gonna cost me. I'm gonna do it. And then that other black one, who was a former stormtrooper that I mentioned, they were sort of setting up a romance with.
That other black
It's like, I'll
one.
help you.
What? That other black one.
You know what I mean?
The woman with him, yeah. To the
Yeah,
black.
but I specify
Jesus.
which one it is. Look, how many black people are in this film, Ben?
3.
3. Okay.
I know
You've
it's
already
hard to
mentioned
keep count.
Lando. You've mentioned Lando.
Yes.
You've mentioned Finn.
Yeah.
The other one, I can't remember her fucking name. We get it like once.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, fine. We'll just die
Yeah.
blowing this shit up. It's
Yeah.
fine. And they get saved by Lando
Yeah.
because the ship's so great. Now, what was Poe's plans though if he got to them?
I put him on the wings.
Well, I guess he must do, mustn't he? Hold on to the wings and fucking. So they're doing all that shit. And then we end up with the fight downstairs is going on still.
Yeah.
Palpatine falls for the same trick that he fell for in episode 3.
Well, Palpatine.
He has not
hang
learned.
on. Palpatine throws Kylo or Ben Ren down the hole. He's like, this happened to me once. See how you like it.
Yeah.
He throws him down, and then he and Rey fight, and Rey gets another lightsaber from somewhere.
Well, it's the other lightsaber. Isn't it?
Yeah, and he goes all Force lightning, and she pushes it back in his face, and he disintegrates, which is a pretty cool death.
Yeah, all the ways. I mean, he, like I say, he falls for the same trick he did in number 3.
Yeah,
Lightning get throws back at him. It's not something he should have anticipated this.
My view of 3, what happened in 3 was it was semi-deliberate. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah,
The thing is, George says it isn't, and Ian says it is.
well, there you go.
So it's contentious.
Make your own mind up.
But no, either way, he gets it reflected back at him, like he did in the 3rd one.
Yeah.
Regardless of intentions.
Yes.
Reflected back at him. He starts disintegrating, like you say.
Oh,
Ben
no.
somehow climbs out of the hole.
Yeah.
Proving yet again that if you're a named character, falling down a pit doesn't kill you.
But Rey's poorly.
Yeah, she's wounded. So, oh my god.
Careful, that sign. I think there's someone at your door.
Oh.
That's
me tapping at the pin for anyone who doesn't get that joke.
That sign's gonna fall off if you're not careful.
Yeah, it is. Oh, well,
Fucking hell.
it's important to note. The pin.
So
he heals her with a 4.
yes.
And then they have a smooch.
Do they?
Yeah, they smooch. I wrote down they smooching, so they definitely had a kiss.
Oh, I must have missed that bit.
And then he dies and literally ghosts her.
Yeah, that was that character should have played out a lot better.
Yeah, and then Leia ghosts everyone. No one was watching, but Maz might have been watching.
Oh yeah, she disappears because they could only afford Carrie Fisher's body for a couple of hours.
Yeah, but it seems weird that she waited that long.
I don't know.
It's weird.
She was connected. She couldn't move on until her son had died.
Maybe.
I don't...
everyone goes back to that resistance planet.
Yes.
And celebrates like they always do. And there's something about this that bothers me.
Is it the lesbians?
No, we see a lesbian smooch. I'm all on board with that. So earlier on in the film, someone who I believe is Mary and or Pippin. He's Mary.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
Dominic's. He was in Lost.
Yeah.
Dominic
Anyway,
Moynihan.
He says we should pull some holdo maneuvers. Meaning the light speed thing that they did in the previous film. He says to do that, and someone's like, "Well, that's a 1 in a million. It's not going to work." But it very much looks like someone did that over the forest moon of Endor. Because we see a shot where it looks like there's a Star Destroyer that's been cut in half in the middle of space with all the same visuals and some Ewoks looking up at it.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
What blew up all of Palpatine's ships?
I think maybe him getting blowed up meant that the Sith essence was gone.
Okay.
Or maybe there was the Citizen Fleet, which I think is what people call it.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, which makes it's fair enough name. Maybe that actually did
something
the job.
Okay.
because there was a lot of them. You know.
Yeah. Well, yes, as he rightfully mentioned, there are lesbians,
Yep.
and it's what that.
Bold move of Disney there.
Yeah, just stick them in the background. Hopefully, the Chinese don't notice. Um,
Yep. That
yeah,
probably got cut from a Chinese version.
I'm certain it did. Yeah, Chewie gets his medal,
Fan service.
which comes right the fuck out of nowhere for no. Why the fuck is he? Why is only Chewie getting a medal in those circumstances? I don't know.
Because of the fan
I
service. This is
know
around about the time everyone kicked off that he didn't get one in a New
Chewie
Hope.
didn't get one in A New Hope, so they
Yeah.
gave him one here, which who gives a shit. Yeah, and as you say, we see it's sort of like the end of Return of the Jedi being
Yeah,
original, and we see Star Destroyers all over in Bespin, I think, is one of the places.
yeah, Bespin's one of them.
Um,
And we see
Jakao.
it's sort of it fades to black, and that for me is when this movie should have ended.
We get Ewoks.
Yeah, the fade to black when everyone's celebrating, everyone's happy. That's when the film should have ended.
Yeah, and then we get Rey on Tatooine.
Yeah, she goes back to the Lars homestead, which is now sand clogged. Makes sense.
Yeah, she's been to
It's
enough.
pretty damn dusty.
Yes, she's. I mean, well, they were going to enough fucking sand planets. It was bound to be
Yeah.
Tatooine eventually.
Yeah, because we haven't been there in the sequels yet.
Why the fuck is she there?
I don't know.
Is she moving in? How does she know it exists?
Nah, she ain't moving in.
I mean, Princess Leia never really spent much any time there, and
No.
Luke
We're there
spent
for like
most
half
of
an hour
Luke
in
spent
the
most.
entire series.
Yes, Luke spent most of his life elsewhere.
Yep.
But no, she wants to be in the Lars homestead now.
For some reason, she buries the lightsabers.
Yes, for some reason.
For some reason.
Here's a question:
Yeah.
why was Luke's last name Skywalker, not Lars or Owen even?
Because of plot device.
I mean, doesn't it make sense to change his fucking surname? Oh, okay.
Yes, it would absolutely have made sense, but for some god knows why reason they didn't do it. They changed layers,
Yeah.
and she didn't marry into a family.
Yeah. So she buries the lightsabers, and we see Force Ghost Leia and Force Ghost Luke looking happy.
An old lady turns up.
Why
It's
is
like, who are you?
Why is the old? This is okay. I assume. I don't know. I guess there's trade routes and stuff that you're not going to live right out in the middle of nowhere, are you? There's going to be every now and then someone's going to pass by on their way somewhere else, I guess.
In the second film, Attack of the Clones, we have talk about other locals that have been attacked by raiders, and they send out a search party to find Shmi.
Yeah. All right.
So it makes sense that other people live nearby.
So this place has been abandoned for like 40 years, I guess, or something similar.
It'll be about 25, 30.
25, 30 years. God, they look fucking ancient. But
Yeah.
okay, Jesus. Yeah. Nobody has there's no sand people. Sorry, Tuscan Raider, squatters or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the old lady asks her what her surname is, and she looks to one side and sees Luke and Leia. And I'm surprised Ben didn't make an appearance, or Anakin or whatever. And she looks to the side and she turns back and she says, Skywalker.
And then we get a binary sunset.
Yes, I love a binary sunset. And
I
BB-8
like a
is
binary
there
sunset.
too. And that's the end of whatever this film was called.
The
And
Rise of Rey Skywalker. Oh,
Yes.
the Rays of Skywalker.
the Rays of yes. And the end of the sequel trilogy. And the end of our Star Wars rewatch. So, first things first, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on this film?
Messy.
Yeah, I think it's messy too.
It's a mess. It's a fucking mess.
I-
There's a few nice bits in it, but nothing that redeems it.
Last time, there's nothing in there that really unlike the other two films in the sequel trilogy, there was nothing I went, I really like that.
I really like the Citizen Fleet thing.
Yeah.
The visual of that when he's giving up all hope, and then we get into the shot. I do get a little bit teary. Oh my god, fucking hell! This is revolution.
Now
When's it our turn?
now last time, although it does end in basically exactly the same situation as Return of the Jedi did, which is
Yes.
we've destroyed the main threat, and I guess everything else is fine.
Well, I think it's implied that everything that they had to fight was in the on at that planet.
Okay, but there's
I
other
think.
whatever. Yes, I now you asked a question last. Well, not really a question, but you made a statement last time that people tend to fall into two camps or schools of thought
Yes.
in the sequel trilogy. Either they think the second one ruined everything, or they think the third one ruined everything. Is that basically what you said? I can't quite remember.
First one's fine. Second one either took it off course,
Yeah.
and third was fixing it, or third ignored what the second did because it was so wildly out of sync with what happened in the first.
No, well, you sort of fall into the first camp, don't you?
Yes.
Well, I sort of fall into the second.
I had a feeling you would, but you feel so strongly about the second one.
Well, I think it tried to do original things, and it didn't always work. But there was something in there that could have been played with, and you not changed it up a bit. And I think this film, this third film, was a panicked attempt by Disney to course correct and go back to something fairly generic. And because they haven't really, they're kind of pretending the second one didn't happen to some extent, um, and just sort of doing and pretending it didn't happen, and just doing this is the
I
sort of the
do.
third film that we would have wanted.
I do wonder whether they course corrected also in part because I say course corrected, adapted plans in part because of Carrie Fisher dying,
Possibly.
and whether the movie we would have got if she had been alive would have been much different to what we have. Because I suspect that's the only real reason why we have Lando.
Maybe, yeah. I think you may well be right.
I think he might have turned up at the fight at the end.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd have played quite as big a role as he played. I
Yeah.
know he wasn't a big role in this anyway, but
Yeah. I yeah, I don't like this film. I think I know with the prequels I said this is how I change it up. You know, there's something there, but with this one it's just like this is so shit and generic and bring back Palpatine, and maybe Palpatine was always going to come back. I don't know, but you had a chance there to do something different.
they say something in the film about how cloning is like a dark secret.
It's
And I'm
not.
like, well, hang on a minute. What
You
about the Kaminoans?
you've had an army built of them.
Yeah, they kind of, you can't have forgotten the Clone Wars, surely. Even Luke had heard of the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
You fought in the Clone Wars?
yeah.
You know.
Uh,
So,
I
this film does seem to disregard some,
yeah.
perhaps even a lot of, what has gone before it throughout the entire series.
It
It references a lot of stuff. It has a few nice touches in homage and appreciation of, but it does seem to disregard a lot as well.
They overplay the Force a lot. I was not engaged by the story.
Mm-hmm.
I was bored by a lot of it.
Am I
there
of
was
the opinion? Am I right to think that this is your least favorite then
least favorite what
of the series?
no, no.
Okay.
Um, I don't know. It might be. Solo is currently at the bottom of the list just because I find it boring and pointless.
But you found out about Han's dice.
And the
Also, why is she not Rey Solo?
I don't fucking know. Then it's the Phantom Menace, which I thought had so many problems and should have been so much of a different film. It's really difficult to figure out where to place this, but it's definitely towards the bottom. It's in the bottom three.
This is my next to worst one.
Yeah. What's your worst one?
The Last Jedi. Which has some lovely moments in it, but as a whole, it's just a shit film.
That's your worst? Really? That's like my fourth favorite.
Yeah, well, we have different opinions on things.
I would. I mean, what would I
One of
rather?
the sequel trilogy is that they keep changing who the bad guy is.
Yeah.
And I know in some ways they do that in the original and the prequel, but it's sort of rather than it changing who the bad guy is, it's actually this is the bad guy's boss.
I still think Solo is worse, but the Phantom Menace I think is marginally more watchable for me, just in terms of what I would change, and there are some more things I like about it. So this is my second least favorite Star Wars film of all time.
Okay, well that's fine. We put this one in the same place.
Yeah. So,
I'm not going down the fucking list. I don't know what I said. I stand by it. Go
Well,
and watch the previous fucking movie.
I'll do mine. Mine
Good for
is
you.
okay. Mine is Empire is the best. Then it's A New Hope. Then it's Rogue One. Congratulations. Oh, then it's The Force Awakens. Then it's The Last Jedi. Then it's Attack of the Clones, I think. Then it's Revenge of the Sith. Then it's Phantom Menace. Then it's this one, Rise of the Skywalkers. And then it's Solo. So yeah.
Happy days.
So I mean, I'm assuming your favorite. What's your favorite trilogy?
Probably the original.
Yeah.
But I would lump. I know it's as if you ignore anything else, then yes, the original. But from a story point perspective, I would say that it's actually a trilogy, a 5-movie series, and a trilogy. Because of the events of Rogue One literally lead right into, and Solo's Solo's probably prequel, I would say actually. So it's a 4, a 5, a 4 and a 4 and a 3, I would say.
Well, well, yeah, I mean, we've talked this to death. The original trilogy is great. Has some problems. Return of the Jedi ain't great. The prequels I see so clearly now. One of the good things I've gotten from this experience is seeing so clearly what George Lucas wanted from it, and getting some good things from the prequels, and just realizing he was completely the wrong person to see that vision through, given the hype that surrounded him as a person. And then I think the sequel trilogy, there's some good things about it, but it does go off the rails a little bit, and I think maybe it should have been planned better right from the offset and done something original. Second one introduces original things, and there's a direction to go there maybe, and you could play about with it. And that trio doesn't really bond too well, and I just there's some good things about it, but I think in terms of potential, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
There's so clearly a great story to be told in the prequels that just wasn't. But I don't know whether you can say that for the sequel trilogy. But yes.
So hang on. What I'm getting from that is that you have reevaluated.
Yeah.
The prequel trilogy.
Yeah, the prequel trilogy. Yeah.
Yeah, the prequel trilogy.
Yeah, I have. I still think they're bad movies.
That's fair enough.
There's good things about them. There's things I like about them. I still think about that bit in Attack of the Clones from like when he kills the Sand people and things like that. And the fixes are
Tusken Raiders.
Sorry. The fixes are so easy and obvious. It's not. I mean, it seems like everybody's had a crack at making better versions of those films in theory. There's all sorts of YouTube videos about what if the prequels were good. I think it's a that meme where it's like the idea in my head and the idea on paper when I write it down.
Yeah.
And the idea in your head is great, and the idea when you write it down is terrible. It's basically that.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, I would have loved the films that George Lucas truly wanted to make. I think. I think I'm relatively comfortable saying that.
So with that in mind, tune in next week when we talk about the 6-hour cut of A Phantom Menace.
No, wait, what? No, we're done. I did my bit. Damn it! I've served my time.
Yeah, well, I'll have you know.
13 years in Azkaban. Whatever. Yeah, I don't know what will. Have you learned anything new?
No, I mean, most of my feeling. I feel like I am more positive. I had done the whole evaluation of the prequels again already.
Yeah.
Right, but my feelings towards the latter half of that have changed somewhat, having now rewatched it again rather than doing it from memory. Because I watched it a fucking lot back when it came out.
Yeah.
So I hadn't really ended up rewatching. I mean, I played games of it, I'd done all sorts of shit, but I'd never really actually rewatched it.
Yeah.
In since becoming an adult.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, I watched the sequel trilogy basically as they came out.
Well, I mean, I hadn't seen any Star Wars films since I was much younger.
So it would have been Revenge of the Sith would have been the last one you actually watched when it was new, right?
Yeah. So... I saw it in cinemas. Saw Attack of the Clones in cinemas too.
Well, nerd. But I watched Phantom in cinemas, so.
You were just you were just unfortunate.
I liked it. I still do.
Well, yeah. I mean, you did say that nostalgia was part of it, and you acknowledged that, and that was great. But yeah, no, I appreciate that you like it. Um, but yeah,
Anyway, we're waffling.
yeah. Well, I don't know what we're doing. I have you enjoyed
We're not.
doing? Have you what?
Oh, sorry, go on. Do it. Do your thing.
Have you enjoyed doing this then?
For the most part, I mean, logistically, sometimes it's been a bit tricky,
Is
but
this something you'd like to do again with another series, maybe?
I think that's something that we reevaluate after we've taken our break and done with Doctor Who.
Well, we may well pick this up again. But yeah, so thanks for joining us.
The difficulty is working out what.
Yeah, we'll figure it out if we. I don't know, but we'll do Doctor Who in a few weeks anyway. So yeah.
So, with that in mind, even though there's no one here at this point watching this, if there is a movie series or a couple of movies you want us to look at and talk about and do to fucking death like this, then by all means let us know in the comment section below if you've liked any of this, which we know you haven't because you're not here. Feel free to ring that bell, like, share, and subscribe. Leave other comments. Let us know how much you fucking hate listening to us, how wrong you think we are, how much you think Ben's a dickhead, because trust me, I'll be leaving those comments. And yeah, just I don't know. Bye.
Bye.